Hey gang, today's video, Richie here is going to be installing a Bourns Audio Sean Silas signature volume pot into the mighty Kramer. Take it away, Rich. I'm just producing.
Well, as I've just found out here and took a couple minutes of searching to find the appropriate tool for it, this has a common slot screw instead of the more common Allen screw, which isn't a big deal, but it's a little irritating when you don't have the appropriate tool at hand. So there we go. That's off. Nice and easy. Bump it bump. Get the old dude there. Just cruise tools, multi-tool, jack. No, not that one. Not that one. Where is it? And it just won't fit quite now. Sometimes you just adapt. Well, that is on there pretty darn firm. Let's see if that. No, bloody heck. That's why it's always good to sort out what tools you need before you start a job, folks, because you can wind up in very irritating situations like this. Grips on there, good. There we go. Alright, that off there. Oh, that washer's on there good, so we're not going to worry about that.
Likely been there since 1985.
Yeah, that's on there nice and good. Alright, so we'll pop the old back panel off here. Set your screws aside. I have a little magnetic tray that I normally use for holding on my hardware, but it's presently stuck to the side of my fridge and full of change. Sometimes you buy tools for a specific job and then they wind up getting, what's the appropriate term, reassigned to other duties.
Reallocated.
Reallocated resources, yes. It was reallocated resource to being the official change holder, and they were stuck to the side of the fridge.
And typical of us, we didn't do any pre-show testing, so hopefully we have audio coming through with a lovely fine mic, which we can see in the lower left of the frame.
Alrighty, so you see how the old soldering iron's doing. It's just, I don't know how well it's going to focus, but it's just cheapo, like Kester brand rosin flux.
There we go.
It's a good habit to use. Some people prefer to use rosin core, and they'll tell you that you don't need to use flux. I call malarkey on it. I use flux with everything. My old man's an electrician, and that's how he taught me to solder. That's how I solder. So it's actually, the old welder's doing pretty good today. Normally she takes a bit to heat up. So just, oh yeah, she's doing beautiful. Alright, so we'll tin that up. Tap, tap, tappa.
Always good when you're barefoot.
Also, oh yeah, beautiful stuff. I got the spatter there. This is just a handy little hack right here. So this is just an old like medicine container, like pill container, prescription jar there. You get your big coil of solder, and it never goes back in the stupid little tube that it comes with. It always gets crunched up, and then you wind up throwing it out. So rather than just having the spool of solder sticking around, stick them in one of these. Put a hole in the top there, feed your solder through, and just give it a good yank. Keeps your solder all nice and handy, and gives it something to hold on to so you can work with. Nice little hack right there. Saves you from throwing the old pill jars in the recycling, putting plastic in the what have you. Alright, so this is yeah. Alright, what do we got here? We got a great big pile of tiny little angel hair spaghetti wire here. She just is a mess. There's about 6 inches more wire here than there really needs to be, and it's just sort of all balled up in a big old rat's nest. I mean, the soldering job's nice, but alright.
Likely from the upgraded pickup.
Yeah. Alright, so let's see. Let's get the old pot out here. Oh, jeez. There we go. Ah, of course, now the washer wants to come free. Put those off to the side. Got the old pot ski out here. Standard 500K pot. Oh. Here's the replacement pot. There is.
Right in front of the mic.
Bourns Audio, Sean Silas pot. Right there.
A little down.
A little down.
There we go. Yeah, it's kind of in shade there, but what can you do, folks?
It's a volume pot. There you go. Okay. Now what is fancy about this is it's a nice smooth taper to it. So, yeah. So, since I didn't bother to get a wiring diagram for this guitar, I'm just going to cheat. I'm just going to move my wires over one at a time. You want to get yourself heat up a little bit there. Get the solder flowing. Pull your wire free. And repeat with the lug. Just get it heated up, flowing. Don't keep it on too long. You don't want to cook your pots. That's bad stuff.
Yeah, still a good pot.
Yeah.
We just want to upgrade.
Yeah, well, you can cook pots pretty good.
That's true.
If you lollygag in your soldering, so bear that in mind. Bear that in mind when anytime you're working with soldering. If it's taking too long, give it a break. Like, give it a minute, let it cool down. Don't want to cook things. Alright, so you get her through the lug there. Oh yeah, I probably didn't need about 3 coffees this morning. This is not improving the fine motor skills.
And this is why I don't solder, folks.
Alright, so there it is. So we get her through there. Pick up your old solder spool. Get a nice bit of solder out. And get it flowing. Oh, now it drops into the cavity. Adjust, recuperate. Fancier people would use like an actual clamp to hold this, but
We are not fancy.
I like freehanding it. I like to live dangerously. Alright, so there we go. Got that one on. Now I'm just going to attach the ground to the back of the pot. But you can do it anywhere. Some people are particular and they'll say, oh, it's got to be like, da-da-da-da. You can do it anywhere. It's really irrelevant. Actually, you know what we're going to do is we're going to make my life easier and a heck of a lot less fighting. So if you ever have tried attaching soldering to a pot, you find that sometimes the solder just doesn't take the first couple times. Get a little sandpaper. I got some 320 here. Give it a little scuff. Just scratch up the back a little bit. Just breaks the smooth coating, makes it a bit easier for the solder to bond, and that gives it something to stick to. Then again, get your gobby solder out. Oh, get it positioned in such a way. Again, this is where having a proper soldering station.
Do you want me to hold the pot?
You know what? Just for this 1 second, if you want to mind, Ben. Alright. Well, who needs a soldering station, right? You just need people around.
Just need a co-host.
Alright. So get her. Kind of laying flat. Yeah, there we go. Kind of dip down more in that scuffed up area there.
There? I can't really see it.
Alright, I'll leave it there. Throw that on there nicely.
Nice.
There we go. So that's the first wire on the new pot. Now next.
I feel like I'm working on cars with my dad again growing up. All I did was hold stuff.
Heat up.
And get yelled at. Yeah.
That wire, which is also attached to the pot, so be mindful of that. Come on, you bugger. No, this one's actually pretty impregnated. I may need to use some soldering wick on that. Of which a more organized person keeps more. Ah, there's a chunk right
Flip
there.
the wire.
There's a chunk right there.
You want me to hold the pot in place there?
If I can just get it, because it would have stuck down in there. There we go.
All right.
So if you never use soldering wick, this makes your life a heck of a lot easier, especially you got gobby old solder. You just put the soldering wick on there, heat her up, and then just sort of drag it through. And it'll sponge up all that excess solder you don't want to have to deal with and heat up and melt off. Oh, come on now. You bugger. She just held on by one little corner. That'll be difficult, yeah. Nothing ever goes easy when you're doing it on camera, folks. If you're ever thinking about doing repair videos for yourself, every single thing that
Can go wrong, will go wrong, folks.
yeah, there's no forgiveness. Things will fight you that shouldn't fight you nearly as much as they tend to when you're doing it on camera. Alright, there we go. Alright. See, that's another reason you don't want to get your pots hot, is yeah, they're kind of toasty. Alright. So that.
Yeah, it is rather toasty.
It's a little bit toasty.
Definite heat retention here, folks.
Poke that through there. Again, there's enough excess solder there. She should stick a bit. There we go. A little bit of electrical tape attached to that. And we'll give her a little extra poke on there, just to make sure. There we go. Now, where'd my little sandpaper go? Once again, just put a little scuff on the pot. And break that surface up a bit. Do heat that up, get her sticking on there. Give her a little shot extra, just I always like to give the grounds on the back of a pot and make sure they're well coated, make sure they flow in good. Like, you don't want a big gobby joint, but I like to make sure they're well coated because they have a tendency to be your solder joints that fail most often.
I agree.
So it's good practice. Alright, and following with the example on the previous pot, bend that into ground, lift, oh, you know what, it actually needs to be straight. Ooh! Sorry, Ben.
Little free relic job here.
It's inside the control plate. You'll never notice.
Hey, you didn't put a drop cloth down for the solder spatter, so. It's okay. We'll get enough buckle rash over the next few years, anyways.
Yeah, a little bit more bandy. A little bit more band. There we go. That's coming in contact with the joint now. Seal the deal. There we go. Again. Oh, look at that. That down. There we go. Now our final bits of wire come off there, which are going to be our cold leads off of the pickups. There we go. Nice. Pot.
Hot pot.
That's a hot pot, yeah. And here we are. Last solder right there. Flow that in. Alright.
You may want to take some of the nuts off that pot. I think it had like 3 of them on it.
Oh, so it does.
That is a smooth bore shaft. We're still using the same nut.
In the cavities. This is normally the part of the job, folks, where you'd be hearing things that
certain words that we don't use on this channel.
Yeah, which is why I don't do a whole lot of repair videos, because I tend to use fiddlesticks and other derivatives of those kind of words quite freely when doing repair videos usually. I find it soothing. Ooh. Not too far up on there.
And what most people don't realize is there is a fair amount of adjustment for your height.
I might need to take that nut completely out of there. It's just not quite clear in the hole. Although it is nice that they give you the extra hardware there if you do have a thinner bodied guitar. Or you're mounting it directly to a metal pick guard or a plastic pick guard or something like that.
Sure.
In this instance though, it's
We dig it, Bourns Audio.
just robbing us of that little bit of clearance that we need. And so we use the spiffy new hardware. Why not?
Sure. Those vintage Kramer washers and nuts may be available on eBay later.
Alright. Right there.
Wait.
There we go. Hold that in place. There we go. And then snug it down. Now, if this is not a recommended practice, by the way, of using pliers to turn bolts on guitars or turn nuts on guitars.
This is true.
It's very risky. You shouldn't do it. It's not a good practice. As I said earlier, I was ill prepared and didn't have time to source out the appropriate socket So there's a bracing technique you can do that mitigates some of the risk, but it's still, there's an off chance you're going to skip off and damage an instrument. Which is why I do not recommend doing it. Do not follow my example in this case.
Now the question is, will that original
Very
not
bad
fit on there?
habit. It will.
Sweet. I didn't realize there was a spring in it.
There was.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So that's on there. Get the wee little dinky mini screwdriver out again. Tighten her up. Oh, I see the set screw. Alright, you know what? Maybe it is not going to get the spring as it's pushing it above the set screw. Alright, so let's try that again without the little. Ah, there we go. That's much better. The little spacer spring was just that bit too much. There. There we go. Ooh, smooth like Smith wicks. Of course I don't have my mini cable up here, Tess. Hey, looks it's being used.
Thank you, Chad Tobin.
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Muchas gracias. Alright. It works.
There you have it,
Successfully
folks.
put in new Sean Silas volume pot into Ben's beloved Kramer.
Awesome. There we go, folks.
There we go. So yeah, that's a cursing-free repair video. Compliments of Canucks with guitars. Have a good day, folks. Take care.